the cruiserweight division has a new unified champion, and that is the Mexican Monster, David Benavidez.
Never in a million years would ever have thought that Benavidez was going to be able to stop Zurdo.
I'm super impressed by him, and I think he's a top 5 pound-for-pound fighter now.
Eddie Reynoso, Canelo's trainer, said the fact that now that Benavidez is moving up to cruiserweight, that him and Canelo, that fight is almost like not going to happen.
But listen, I totally understand, because if Canelo stepped foot in the ring with David Benavidez would stop him.
If he dies, he dies.
Benavidez has the option to either stay at cruiserweight and maybe take on the number one guy at cruiserweight in Opetaia, or he could go back down to 175 and potentially fight for undisputed against Dmitry Bivol.
He has to go down and fight Dmitry Bivol. You know, go undisputed at 175.
Welcome back to another episode of the Last Round Podcast, where we cover everything from traditional boxing to influencer boxing and everything in between. Today's episode, we'll be going over David Benavidez and Naoya Inoue's victories this past weekend. But before we get into the episode, make sure to like and subscribe and follow us on all forms of social media. Lastly, we're trying to build up a community on Discord, and you guys joining would be greatly appreciated. And now diving into the episode, the cruiserweight division has a new unified champion, and that is the Mexican Monster. David Benavidez successfully entered the division and successfully destroyed, obliterated, beat up former champion Gilberto Ramirez in a very entertaining, high-paced fight in which David Benavidez became the new unified cruiserweight champion. Thoughts about this fight?
Benavidez is unstoppable, man. I mean, this guy has all the momentum behind him. He is really making a name for himself, and he's making it hard to say. You know, this guy might be the future of, like, Hispanic boxing going forward.
We're talking about Colombian boxing or Mexican boxing?
Ecuadorian, you mean?
Oh, Ecuadorian. Yes, you're right. I'm sorry. You know, I think you know, this was such a great weekend for boxing. You know, you had Junto Nakatani and then Benavidez making a huge statement, you know, for himself, for the fans. It seemed as though everybody in that arena was very excited, very, what's the word? I guess happy, you know, with the result, with how the event went. The whole card was stacked. Benavidez being able to stop Ramirez was such a stamp. It really showed the levels that, you know, Benavidez is, and I think just within online, the reaction that I've seen is the fact that I've seen like a lot of people that are just casuals within the sport actually tuning in and actually finding out who Benavidez is. You know, this guy started at 168, became a champion there at 175, became a champion there, and then going up from that weight class to cruiserweight, the 25-pound jump, and making it look easy against a guy who was bigger than him, taller than him, making easy work out of Zurdo was really good for Benavidez.
Yeah, man. He has a fan-friendly style. You know, whenever... I mean, we talked about this last week. You know, we all said that we thought Benavidez was going to win. I thought it was going to be a unanimous decision. I agree. I mean, you know, El Zurdo Ramirez is a big guy. And I thought he was going to be able to tough it out, you know, for 12 rounds. I thought he was going to take a whooping, but he was going to tough it out. And no, I mean, Benavidez was going in there. People were saying it was like he was jumping him. You know, it was he was getting jumped in there, which it was crazy. He was throwing 6-7 punch combinations, just so his hand speed was incredible, man. You see that boxers do that on like training pads. They don't do that in actual fights, and that's why I think, you know, Benavidez is making a really big name for himself. The fans really like. They like him. They like his style. You know, he's just a fun guy to watch. So I'm super impressed by him, and I think he's a top 5 pound-for-pound fighter now.
Yeah, him being able to land 7 to 10 punch combinations on his opponent is something that we normally don't see, especially against a guy who is bigger than him as well. You know, I think that was so fascinating. And if you would have asked me, and I'm pretty sure I said this last week, but never in a million years would ever have thought that Benavidez was going to be able to stop Zurdo. You know, Zurdo is just a guy who he's been dropped once, and that was super early in his career. And after that, it's very hard for me to remember a situation where I saw Ramirez getting like, you know, dropped. No, he hasn't been dropped, but like just stumbled, you know, super hurt. So for Benavidez to come up this much in weight and just stop him the way he did was so amazing. I really thought that Ramirez was just going to be so durable and big, and like what you said, take an ass whooping, you know, get his face disfigured and whatnot, but you know, not leave the stadium in a stretcher.
Yeah, he messed up his face. He messed up his face. The eye was messed up, man. So yeah, Benavidez was definitely putting a whooping on him. You know, he doesn't have knockout power, but what he does have is like it's just constant punches, and you know, I think it really like messes up with your morale. Like, you know, this guy's landing like 8 punches on you. You know, they're fast as hell. Like it's hard to really take that for so many times. And I think their spirit gets broken. A lot of Benavidez, he goes in there for their soul and he takes it. And it's no mercy when it comes to him.
Do you guys? So I mean, you just said it right now, but like, so you guys don't believe that power that he had at 168, 175 can carry up to the cruiserweight?
Well, he showed it can. Yeah. He showed it can. I mean, like he's not gonna get like knockout. You know,
one punch KO.
He's not gonna get one punch KOs or anything like that. He never really has been one of those type of guys. But he's just a fighter where for 12 rounds, if you're able to last 12 rounds with him, it's just gonna be a constant like whooping. You know, it's 8 punches, and you know they're not soft either. I mean, he messes up your face as well. So he's one of these guys that gets TKOs, you know. So he does have good power, but it's not the power that's the distinguishing factor. It's, you know, how many, the volume, how many punches he's throwing in there.
And I think we also have to highlight the fact that, yes, I guess this is, what is this going down as a KO win for Benavidez?
It's showing KO on box record.
Yeah. During, I want to say like count 6 or 7. I remember seeing Ramirez just look up at the referee and just shake his head like no.
Yeah.
And that last punch that Benavidez threw, he also knocked out the mouthpiece out of Ramirez's mouth as well. So as he's shaking his head now, you can see the mouthpiece right there, right next to him. So, you know, not only did he stop him, but it looked like he quit as well. You know, maybe to save his eye or whatever. But at the end of the day, shook his head no mas.
Yeah, that was, he actually did. Yeah, he said no. He didn't want no more. Now, was it a punch that knocked out the mouthpiece, or was it an elbow? Because that's the other thing that came out of this fight. Some people, you know, after they showed the replay, you saw Benavidez did hit him with an elbow. Hit him straight flush with an elbow. And people are saying Benavidez now is a dirty fighter. They're saying he did that intentionally, and they're trying to make him seem like, you know what I'm saying, he's like a dirty fighter now, which I personally don't agree with.
Hey, when you're so fast and your opponent's so slow, sometimes you are able to land an elbow in between your punches.
I saw a lot of people on social media who were highlighting that elbow, and I saw the clips of people going in slow motion and rewinding the tape on the elbow during the finishing combination, and people were saying, oh, that elbow was the elbow that took El Zurdo out. It was that he's a dirty fighter, blah blah, cheating, this and that. And I'm like, dude, did we not just see the other 20 punches prior to the elbow that landed flush on Ramirez? So look, when it comes to that, I think that's the thing that kind of irritates me a little, is that they're taking out this fantastic win and tainting it with the supposed, you know, intentional elbow, which it was not intentional. I mean, Benavidez has never been the guy who's thrown elbows like that in his fights, but it just happened to catch him by mistake. So I don't think it was not intentional. And also, I mean, I think we're ignoring the fact that Benavidez was already whooping him for the past 5 rounds prior to that, so it was not the elbow that took him out.
Yeah, it's very, very unfair from the fans, I think, you know, and I don't think it's a lot of them. I think it's like a small minority that's just really loud, and, you know, they're trying to insinuate something, but yeah.
The Canelo fans?
maybe. Yeah, the Canelo fans, they're trying to, discredit Benavidez.
Downplay it.
Any type of way. But it's true. I mean, Benavidez was winning that fight, no elbow or not. You know what I'm saying? The thing that messed up Zurdo's eye were the punches. It wasn't that elbow. So like it really didn't have anything to do with the ending of that fight. Benavidez was going to stop him. Like it just is what it is. And I do feel kind of bad for him. People are saying like he's a dirty fighter now, or they're trying to insinuate like he did this intentionally. I'm like, guys, that's not really what happened here. So it is a little sad to see from the fans.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a little moment that happened when you really compare it to the big picture. I mean, people are going to remember the fact that Benavidez went up a weight class and beat a bigger guy, a champion to say the least, and just beat him and made him quit. So I think, that little hiccup is just going to be, people forget. People have a terrible memory. Earlier this week, I think Eddie Reynoso, Canelo's trainer, said the fact that now that Benavidez is moving up to cruiserweight, that him and Canelo, that fight is almost like not going to happen. But people seem to forget that Canelo's team were so close to making that cruiserweight fight against this other... It was the WBC champion like a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. Can't remember his name, this African dude. Mm-hmm. I mean, there were talks, there were like, rumors that they were potentially going to, Canelo was going to go up another weight class to cruiserweight and fight this dude. Mm-hmm. It never happened. But now that, now we're going to go to the picking and choosing of, oh, no, Benavidez is a young bull. Hell no.
Well, I mean, it's a duck, man. It's a duck, Canelo, that fight, honestly, I don't think that fight is ever going to happen. Canelo versus David Benavidez. After the win, Benavidez got on the mic and started talking. He called out Canelo, because Canelo was in attendance, actually. He was ringside because his homie, Jaime Munguia, became a world champion again after 8 years. So, he was having a good time. He was in a good mood. It was kind of funny seeing Canelo, rooting for his friend, which is pretty cool. But Benavidez called him out, and I don't think that fight's going to happen. It's like you said, yeah, I saw those comments from Eddie Reynoso. He said, Benavidez is just too big. First, it was Benavidez doesn't have anything, or like he's not
known.
Yeah, he's not known. He doesn't have any accomplishment. They were like trying to downplay him. They're like, who is he? What has he done in the sport? Now Benavidez made history. First fighter to get a belt at 168, 175, and 200. So he made history now. People know him. He's in the top 5 pound for pound rankings. Now it's, he's too big. He's in a different weight class than us. So it really is just the picking and choosing. It's the ducking from Canelo's team. But listen, I totally understand, because if Canelo and his team, if Canelo stepped foot in the ring with David Benavidez would stop him. So it makes sense as to why they do not want a David Benavidez fight.
Yeah, at this stage of his career, definitely not the ideal opponent to be in there with. But, I mean, even so, Canelo has a tough outing in September. It was the rumored fight against Christian Mbili. And stylistically, that's a hard matchup for Canelo. Like I said, especially at this stage of his career. So he's got that to deal with if that fight does come into fruition. But, yeah, I agree. A David Benavidez fight is likely never to happen, and I think I'm fine with that, honestly, because it's been 3-4 years now of the constant call outs, of the ducking, and at this point I'm kind of growing a little past it. So, and I think there's a lot better options for David Benavidez, and those two options were very, they sparked a lot of debate and a lot of conversations on social media. Benavidez has the option to either stay at cruiserweight and maybe take on the number one guy at cruiserweight in Opetaia, who is the champion of the most lucrative, credible belt out there, the Zuffa belt. He could fight Opetaia, or he could go back down to 175 and potentially fight for undisputed against Dmitry Bivol. Now, if you guys were David Benavidez or a manager trying to navigate his career, what fight would make sense?
I think going down, he has to go down and fight Dmitry Bivol. I mean, that fight is way too interesting, and also it's for all the belts as well. we got to get that fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really do want to see David Benavidez get in the ring with Bivol. I think stylistically it's a great matchup as well. The thing is, I could see Benavidez staying at cruiserweight, but this Zuffa thing just throws a wrench in this whole thing, man. Like, I saw in the post-fight press conference, they asked Benavidez about it, and he's like, yeah, man, I don't really know why, Opetaia went to Zuffa. He got stripped from his IBF title. Now he's a Zuffa champion, and he's like, it seems like Dana White and Zuffa, they don't really want to make deals with the other organizations. So I don't know. I don't really see that fight happening just because of the politics, even though it'd be a fantastic fight. I mean, there's no question that Opetaia is the best guy in the cruiserweight division. But listen, Benavidez got a lot of things. Now he has a lot of options. I think as a boxing fan, the best one would be going down and fighting Bivol for undisputed.
So okay, let me ask you this, Asa, since you've been so. What's the word? You've been so supportive of this Zuffa organization. I want to hear from your mouth and your mouth only. I want you to start hating on that organization now, because now they're not making the fights that the fans really want to see. That
is true. I mean, like, that whole thing is just, we have to see them integrate to the other side of boxing, because they're not just gonna do it by themselves. If they're gonna isolate themselves, then they're gonna scare a lot of boxers. Because Benavidez said, he's like, I'm not going over there and fighting for a Zuffa title. Like, you know what I'm saying? Why? He's got 2 unified titles. He's a champion still at 175. Like, what are we doing here? So, I don't know. We have to wait and see. I mean, it's still super early in Zuffa's career, if we can call it that. But we'll see the developments that happen. I think for sure in the cruiserweight, it is like, it threw like a massive wrench, because they literally got the top guy. Somehow, Dana White convinced Opetaia to join Zuffa. He gets stripped from his world title, and now he's the Zuffa champion. And it seems like they don't want to make any of the are the sanctioning bodies even going to want to sanction Opetaia if Zuffa boxing is involved? I don't know. So it's not a good look for Zuffa, honestly.
Look, maybe I haven't really stated how much I disliked the way Zuffa boxing has, come into the sport. But from the very go-go, I could see, from when they first started, I could see in the future almost like how they were going to be able to clashing with the whole sport as a whole. Not only do they want to change the laws for the sport, but they also are clashing with some of the other boxing promotional companies that have been there for decades, multiple decades. Fucking TV platforms that, have done a pretty good job, like The Zone, marketing the sport. Now PBC is with Prime. I mean, that's also a good platform as well. And they just want to stick with Paramount Plus. So you're creating these divisions within the sport. Like, how are you going to make everybody fight everybody? It looks like they just want to dominate. It looks like they want to monopolize the sport. And, we're talking about Dana White. And so I had a feeling that, eventually, there was going to be a fighter that the people kind of want to see, but because he's signed with Dana White, it wasn't going to happen. And unfortunately, it's possible that Jai Opetaia took the fast money, and now he's leaving a lot more money on the table.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see his career development. I mean, listen, that's a massive signing, though. So, like, that's a really valuable asset. Opetaia is the best guy at cruiserweight. And a fight with David Benavidez right now, that's, like, huge, so a big money fight. I'm sure they're trying to cook up something, but as of right now, Zuffa hasn't really shown us that and also the other sanctioning bodies, they don't like each other. No. They are at odds against each other. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. Hopefully they get they can sit down at the table and talk business, because it's just all about the money at the end of the day. So, like, hopefully money talks, and then they can get over the hurdles or something.
Well, David Benavidez officially, as of right now, ranked number 7 on the Ring Magazine pound for pound list. Definitely is gonna go up. after this performance. There's going to be some movement in the pound for pound list. New champion, 3 weight division champion as well for David Benavidez. So overall, a very, very successful weekend for him, as he really just is gaining so much traction, and he's getting better each and every fight. And honestly, I would rather see him go down to 175 and take on Dmitry Bivol sometime later this year for the undisputed clash. And I mean, I've been saying that for a while now. I think David Benavidez would beat him. I think he beats Bivol, and I think he beats Better Beef. He's just simply getting better and better with each and every fight. So that's definitely the fight that I think a majority of boxing fans are hoping gets done next after Dmitry Bivol returns later this month after his back surgery. So I'm very excited to see how David Benavidez develops in his career. And I'm very excited to see and curious to see the route in which he takes for his next fight.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. I mean, Bivol is coming back from an injury, so he still has 3 of the 4 belts. I want to see him. Hopefully, he's gonna get the win, and hopefully, he calls out Benavidez.
I mean, Pablo, you asked a question about like if Benavidez and Bivol is like the fight for Benavidez, is that the fight that the fans want to see. I think it is a big fight that we as the boxing whole need to see. I think, it's the best versus the best, right? Pound for pound fighter against a pound for pound fighter. I think, these fans want to see the best fight against the best. I want to say that's the second best option for Benavidez. I think the best one would be Canelo, obviously, two Mexican warriors, going at it. And honestly, I do think that fight is never going to happen. It's going to be one of those what if fights. It's very unfortunate the fact that, Canelo doesn't understand the cycle of boxing. He just wants to, keep himself protected and not lose any more times. It goes like this, you start as a young prospect, contender, you become a world champion, you remain champion for a while now, and then you lose against the next up and coming bull, which has been Benavidez. And it's a cycle that, we see throughout history, throughout these past decades, and it looks like Canelo is too scared to go through that.
Bro, it's gonna be violent. Like maybe if Benavidez was like a Floyd Mayweather type, he just outbox him, lose a 12-round decision. Okay, he could live with that. He's gonna get his ass kicked against Benavidez.
If he dies, he dies.
Listen, I'd be scared if I can get in the ring with Benavidez, man. That's a scary man. Every single time he gets better, and I also. Listen, I think he's the future, man. He could definitely be number 1 pound for pound in a couple of years. Go undisputed at 175, and then just go 200 and 175 could be his divisions. He can go up and down.
You know what surprises me the most right now is the fact that Benavidez has been undefeated up until this point in his career, and the majority of his wins have been by stoppage. How come he's not a bigger fighter than he currently is right now? I think now, I feel like a lot of people, just from the reaction online, a lot of people are like knowing who Benavidez is. How come we haven't seen more? How come he hasn't acquired more fans throughout the past few years? He has a fan-friendly type of a style. Like, that should intrigue anyone to like be a fan of him.
Yeah, I definitely do think he should be a lot bigger than he is currently right now. But no, he does. I've been seeing some edits from him, like we were saying, with that style that he has. That sometimes I've been seeing people be posting his fight with Ellis. Yeah. Where they're like saying there's like 4 guys jumping up, and then people are like in the comments like he beat the shit out of Ellis that fight. I mean, it was bad, and he was doing his typical thing, like 8-punch combinations. People in the comments are all like, I had to stop the fight and give the guy a break, bro. So that shit is hilarious. I think some of his fights like that, they do kind of go viral, and people who don't even follow boxing do be seeing that. But for sure, he's going to get a lot bigger. We're going to continue to see his face and his name. He's a charismatic guy too. I enjoy him. He's a great guy. I think he should get on like a Neon streams or Aiden streams to.
And that's the thing. I mean, he has now. Yeah. He's been on Oblivion. I'm pretty sure Neon streams as well.
Yeah, he was with Oblivion. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and then Mike Tyson and Ryan Garcia were in his locker room as well. So in between them, I think like sometimes he'd be hanging out with like some of these other content creators and whatnot. So I think now maybe this is going to be his for sure breakout year where, like, he's going to be a lot more well known throughout, like, just the casuals.
And even more so if he's able to get that Dmitry Bivol undisputed clash for later down the year. I mean, that's going to cement him as one of the top figures in boxing today. So very exciting to see where David Benavidez goes from here. And for one thing's for sure, he definitely will be making more noise in whatever division he decides to fight in next. But you guys made a good point right now that the boxing fans love to see the best fight the best. Pound for pound fighters fighting against pound for pound fighters. And that's what we got over in Japan at the Tokyo Dome, where we saw the return of the number 2 pound for pound fighter in Naoya Inoue, undisputed champion at the super bantamweight division, taking on his Japanese rival, number 6, Junto Big Bang Nakatani. This fight, heavily anticipated, sold out crowd over in Japan. Absolutely shattered, broke records, pay-per-views, revenue, gates, whatever. Absolutely shattered every single record over in Japan for this Japanese mega fight. And I saw a lot of mixed reviews about it. A lot of mixed reactions to the fight. Personally, for me, I enjoyed it. I liked the tension. It was very technical, high quality. And I think I enjoyed it personally, but a lot of people did not. Regardless of it, Naoya Inoue remained undisputed champion at the 122 division as he secured a unanimous decision over Junto Nakatani and is looking for a potential fight against Bam Rodriguez. Regardless of that, what were your guys' thoughts about the fight over at the Tokyo Dome?
Yeah, I mean, it was a chess match, high level. And I think that's something that people have to understand. When you get to, like, the top of boxing and you're fighting another guy who's at the top of boxing, a lot of the times it's going to lean towards where they're going to be a little bit more conservative. They're going to, because they got to make sure one wrong step and they can get hurt bad. So that's kind of what we saw. They were real cautious. You know what I'm saying? Just on the conservative side. And sometimes with these big fights, people hype them up that, like, they're going to be a bloodbath. It's not. It doesn't really pan out that way, and it's because they put their standards so high. They get something else, and they're really mad about it. So I wish there would have been a little bit more action, but I think it was totally fine. I mean, Inoue did his thing. He showed why this guy's the best boxer on the planet. And he got a clear unanimous decision victory over Nakatani.
Yeah, and that's the thing. These guys are both in the top 10 pound for pound list, and for Inoue to make it look convincingly that he won is such a good thing on his end, right? You never want to see a fight where it's like super close, and then you can kind of give it to either fighter. I think Inoue did a pretty good job of establishing himself as the guy of Japan, the number 1 guy. And so, he did what he needed to do. He took control early on, and then in the middle round, Nakatani tried to come back, and then just like the champion that Inoue is, he finished those last few rounds really strong, especially those championship rounds. And it is what it is. The criticism online that I've been seeing with the fact that a lot of people were saying that this was such a boring fight. Maybe it was more technical. Maybe we didn't have that flair that that we always typically tend to see from Inoue, being able to hurt his opponents, drop them, and just put on a spectacle. When you get to, I think a lot of people need to understand that once you get to the elite of any combat sports, we're talking about boxing, but once you get there, one punch, maybe you're not gonna get dropped by one punch, but if he hits you right in the eye and that eye starts swelling up, best believe it could be the end. So, I'm pretty sure Inoue fucked up his eye, but, it didn't stop him. But, I mean, it could have stopped him. I mean, it could have, Nakatani could have been hurt or seriously injured even more because of that. But, these guys are elite. Nakatani is a guy who has high ring IQ, so he was able to, weather the storm and just, come out with a decision loss.
Yeah, and he got there was a headbutt. And there's some people were saying that influenced the outcome of the fight. They're saying that if Nakatani wasn't cut, then the outcome would have been a little different. I don't know about that. I'm gonna be honest.
Going back to the question that you were saying, Janan, I think there was one person who wasn't really enjoying the fight, who thought it was super boring, too technical for his own expertise, and that was Terrence Bud Crawford. There was a moment where the camera was like panning out to, I think it was maybe him, but I think it was kind of like towards like that row where Crawford was sitting, and you can see Crawford like.
He was sleeping?
Yeah, I mean, he had his eyes closed. You know, maybe it could have been that 12-hour jet lag or something like that. Because from Omaha, Nebraska to Japan, it's pretty far.
They're going to meme the fuck out of him. Oh, my gosh, bro. That's such a bad look. Dude, literally Crawford being there. We got like 2 of the top 10 pound-for-pound fighters. And Crawford just sleeping in this. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, people were kind of hating on him, saying, oh, if it's not Crawford fighting, then he's not interested in the fight. Or if it's not his boy Shakur in the ring, then he's not interested.
Oh, my God.
No, yeah, but I saw that. It had to be the jet lag, honestly.
Yeah.
I can show you it had to be the jet lag. Because then I saw someone post a clip of either him later that day or prior when he got there, and it was him. Like, I think they were at a restaurant, and he was like closing his eyes there too. So I'm sure it was the jet lag. So, but he went and to both of their locker rooms. He took pictures with them. He met with the fighters, and he was a big spectacle there in the arena. Fans were rushing to get pictures and autographs from Terrence Crawford. But back to the fight here, Naoya Inoue. Yes, I saw the remarks on social media about the headbutt. The headbutt altered the momentum because let's remember Nakatani decided to wake up and started pushing the pace, and for the past 2-3 rounds prior to the headbutt, he was winning them, and he was pushing back Inoue. He was letting his hands go, and Inoue looked a little bit, people were saying he looked a little bit winded. And then the headbutt happened. 11th round came up, and that's when Inoue had a massive 11th round. But I look, here's the thing. I think Inoue just showed the pedigree. He showed his expertise. He showed his experience as the champion and his experience at fighting at a high level for such a long time. This was probably Nakatani's first mega fight like that. I mean, Inoue has fought with the likes of Donaire in the past. He fought against literally MJ, the guy who was regarded as the second best guy. Back in September last year, he fought Stephen Fulton in his debut at 122. He's been fighting these top number 1 supposed guys in their divisions for quite some time now. So he's accustomed to the shining lights. Whereas Nakatani, I believe this might be the biggest fight of his career, as well as Inoue, by the way. But Inoue just simply has more experience under the bright lights than Nakatani. So people online were saying, maybe Nakatani was a little bit too respectful, little too gun shy early in the rounds, because once he started letting his hands go and pushing the pace on Inoue, he did have success. Evidence showing in between the 9th to the 10th or 8th to the 10th round and whatnot. So regardless, Inoue was able to get that UD win. I think it's also confirmed that Nakatani suffered an orbital bone, either fracture or something like that, in his eye, which he was taken to go to the hospital to get it checked. So big moment for Naoya Inoue. And it sparked a lot of conversation online because it's always been the one person who they keep bringing up as a potential matchup for the monster, and that's Bam Rodriguez. How does that fight go? Does that fight even come to fruition?
Well, actually, before we even dive into like what's next, before this fight, Nakatani was ranked number 2 in the pound for pound rankings. Inoue was ranked number 2 in the pound for pound rankings. With this win against the number 6 guy on that list, do you move Inoue to the number 1 spot?
Mandatory. I think you have to. I think Inoue should be. You got to give him the respect that this fight, asked for. He's fighting a top 10 pound for pound fighter. You give he got a unanimous decision victory. It was clear that he won this fight. I think you have to give, and also the activity, by the way, you have to give Naoya Inoue is the number 1 pound for pound fighter in the world.
Yeah, I agree as well. I think he is number 1 pound for pound. Good win for him. Good victory. Good performance. The activity really from last year, it just really cements him as number 1 pound for pound. And I think he'll probably stay there for a bit longer, even though Usyk is set to return later this month. But I mean, he's fighting against Rico, and MMA. I mean, I don't really put too much.
Is he the number one guy in all 4 sanctioning bodies?
Who?
Rico. He's a dangerous fighter. I've been hearing that he's been knocking out everybody.
Man, fuck that fight, dude. That is. I'm so mad about that. So yeah, I'm definitely docking a few points from Usyk too. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, you're gonna put in a number 2.
Shit, he's going down to number 10. No, I'm joking. Yeah, he's number 2 still. You got to give him the respect. But, I mean, I personally think it's unacceptable that he's fighting this guy, especially at this time of his career when he only has so few fights left. But, I digress.
Yeah, I guess, what's next with Inoue is the fact that apparently, there's a lot of rumors online saying the fact that, or a lot of speculation that Inoue is going to fight Bam Rodriguez next.
Well, I mean, Turkey came out and said that he wants to talk about that. Yeah. So I mean, it's turning into some real thing,
No, I know it is. So I mean, Bam has a fight coming up, not too long, like here soon. So we'll see how he performs. I'm expecting him to perform, the way he normally performs. And
that's going to be a debut at 118. It's going to be his debut. So I mean, it's going to be we're gonna talk about that, right? Like it's gonna be important, how he feels with that in that new weight class. Does he look the same? Does he move the same? So it's gonna be a big talking point. He has a lot of pressure on him.
Yeah, it is, and it's kind of crazy. It seems as though once Bam became a world champion, he's been basically on that fast track. Just ever since he became a world champion, he's either in a fight where he's defending his belt or he's trying to move up a different weight class or unify. He's always in a championship title fight now. And so, is Bam, do you guys believe Bam Rodriguez is up to the challenge of Inoue, or do you think he's biting a little bit more than he can chew?
No, I mean, he's been in mega fights. He fought El Gallo Estrada. You know what I'm saying? That guy's a legend in Mexico. Iconic guy, and he beat him convincingly, and he stopped him. I mean, he knocked him out with a body shot. It was devastating. So I think definitely Bam has all the championship level experience that someone like Inoue has as well. He's battle tested. He's been through it, and he's the real fucking deal. Like it really is. Bam is like the only one that has a chance of stopping Inoue. Like no one else in those lower weight classes can do anything to Inoue. The only thing that could stop Inoue is, continuing to go up in weight classes. That's why he says that 126 will be his last weight class because, that's just what happens, Not everyone can be Manny Pacquiao, right? So, but yeah, man, I really do think Bam is the only hope that we have. And of course, pure Mexican, so I'm really excited for that. I really hope that fight does happen. I think it's plausible, and I think it makes sense. I mean, it's not like, let's not forget Inoue also is coming down from like low weight classes as well. So it's just all about timing. Make sure Bam goes to 118. Gets that good debut, maybe even a debut at 122 before, and then get that fight. Just don't rush it. Make sure you go, you're 100% ready for that fight, for that weight, and we're gonna that would be greatness, honestly. That'd be a fantastic fight.
Yeah, I believe Inoue and his team were gonna take a break for a bit because this man went on a tear, on a very active 2025, and he started off 2026 was a big mega fight. So the camp was hard leading up to that Junto Nakatani showdown. So Inoue, a lot of people online were saying his performance has definitely digressed a little bit, just mainly possibly because of the camps and the activity he's had. I mean, he's number 2 pound for pound fighter. A lot of these guys typically fight 2 or 3 times a year. I mean, he's fought 5 times already, since 2025. And he's had two big mega fights, and he's had a couple of hard fights. Ramon Cardenas included in there. So people were saying, I think it would be good if Naoya Inoue takes a little break from fighting, maybe come back either at the ends of the year or maybe even next year. I mean, who knows? But it would allow him to have the proper recovery and to actually have some downtime to relax, because he's been putting in a lot of hard work these past couple of fights. So honestly, if Bam Rodriguez and Inoue does happen next, and the rumors, speculations are saying early 2027. I think that'd be the perfect amount of time for Inoue to recover, and I think we'd see a more sharper Inoue than we've been getting these past couple fights, just because he's had more time to recover and let his body rest. So honestly, I'm not too big of a fan of that fight. I'd rather see him actually go up to 126 instead of waiting for Bam Rodriguez. But if that fight happens, I'm not going to complain about it.
Yeah, I think it's very surprising how the fact that, Bam and his team are kind of like moving up, just it seems as though they're either going up in weight class or sometimes going back down in weight class. Not saying that this could be a probability, but it's possible that going up from, the weight class that he's fighting at right now to then going up to 122, even though he started around the same weight class in the lower weight classes, just like Inoue, would have multiple fights at a certain weight class before moving up to the next weight class and so on and so forth. I think, Bam and his team are just kind of just jumping around from weight class to weight class. I think it could have some type of negative impact on Bam if he were to go up to 122, in the fact that he could feel lethargic, feel slow, and feel like maybe he moved a little bit too fast in going up to 122. That is the only problem I could see. But in regards to just the activity, the level of opposition that Bam has, and just the skills that we've seen him possess inside that ring, it seems as though he's pretty much up there. You know what I'm saying? He's already within the top 10 pound for pound list, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah, I mean, brother is top 5. Yeah. For me personally, I have him at 4.
No.
So the real deal.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess the weight class would be the only thing that could probably hurt him in the end.
It's definitely a possibility. But we got to do it all in due time. Yeah, you can't really rush these things. I think even Inoue, he was getting interviewed. I forgot who was interviewing him, and they asked him. This was before the fight. What's can we see a fight between you and Bam? He's like, yeah, but just all in due time. You know what I'm saying? You just it has to be done in a timely manner. Everyone has to be ready because. What weight did Inoue start at? I mean, he was what is it, 112, 113?
No, I'm pretty sure it was 108. If that, I want to see it's what's it called? The minimum weight class?
Yeah, minimum is 108. I think. Yeah. So I mean, they're tiny, and also I mean, Bam also started at that weight class. Yeah. I do think Inoue is a little taller than him, but I think Bam is wider. He's wider than him for sure, and I think he carries some weight. You know what I'm saying? When he's not in camp, he be carrying some weight. No. You know what I'm saying? So it's not act like this guy's a small guy. I definitely do think 122 is definitely possible for him. The thing is, with that weight, and if that influences his movement in any way, shape, or form, that's going to be horrible because, I mean, this guy is the fucking movement master. You know what I'm saying? His footwork is incredible. Yeah. So just all in due time. And I think we can get that fight for sure.
Yeah. We'll see what happens regarding that possible matchup. Definitely very interesting. A lot of debate online regarding who would win in that fight between Bam Rodriguez and Naoya Inoue. But for right now, I guess we have the new number 1 pound for pound fighter in Naoya Inoue, Japan's gem, Japan's number 1 king here, and good win for him. Gonna get the rest, and hopefully we get to see him at least one more time here in 2026. If not, then 2027 will be it. But he is definitely cementing himself as one of the best fighters of all time. Maybe a lot of people are giving him his merit in that regard. So we'll see what happens next for the career of Naoya Inoue. But he was your champion and your winner in this clash against the Big Bang and Junto Nakatani at the Tokyo Dome.
It is kind of funny because this fight between him and Nakatani, it was hyped for a very long time. People were like, we want to see this fight. It has to happen. They're both from Japan. They're both tearing the bantamweight division. It finally happened. And already for Inoue, another fight, another mass mega fight. They're saying Bam Rodriguez. It really just shows you like how much pressure is on these fighters. You know what I'm saying? He just got the biggest win of his career, and they already won another mega fight with Bam Rodriguez, who is literally top class. He's higher ranked on the pound for pound list than Junto Nakatani. The pressure that these guys are under is absolutely insane, and you really do just got to give them their flowers. I mean, these guys are literally giving their all in the training camps, and then on fight day, for millions and millions of us to watch.
Yeah, that's just that comes with the job, man. For Naoya Inoue, he's constantly under pressure, which is why during the post-fight conference, he said that he was very relieved after the fight, because he has the big pressure of performing well against Junto Nakatani and against all these other high caliber fighters. So Naoya Inoue will keep on being pressured by the boxing world to take on these big fights. I mean, he's got Bam Rodriguez there. He's got the challenge at the featherweight division. So Naoya Inoue, even at 33 years of age, number one pound for pound fighter in the world, is constantly looking for challenges, and that's what makes him great. But is there anything else that you guys would like to discuss?
You guys want to talk about fight week?
Yeah, Dubois and Wardley. Wardley's first title defense. Fabio Wardley and Daniel Dubois are going to be fighting for Wardley's championship. It's going to be Wardley's first title defense. I'm excited for this fight, honestly. I mean, first of all, this has really big implications because this is the only belt that Usyk doesn't have. Right. He was stripped from it because he didn't want to fight Fabio Wardley as his mandatory. So, the IBF said, give me that shit. And then, they gave it to Wardley. It's an interesting fight.
WBO.
Oh, WBO. Isn't it so funny? Like, sometimes these sanctioning bodies, sometimes they do their job. Other times they just don't do their fucking job. Anyway, this is an interesting fight, man. Like, Dubois is always in the top. He's always one of the top guys in the heavyweight division. And but this guy Fabio Wardley has a lot of momentum behind him. He has a lot of momentum. I feel like he's like sprung into the heavyweights. He just broke in, and he's been nonstop going up. He's a world champion, which is really impressive in the Usyk era. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm super excited about this fight. One, because it's it's these two elite heavyweight guys, and because I know both of them and the records and stuff like that. There's gonna be a stoppage. Ain't no way this fight is gonna go the decision. Ain't no way. These guys both pack a punch in either hand. And so, I'm expecting fireworks. I'm expecting someone to leave in a stretcher. Hopefully it's not Daniel Dubois, because that's my boy. But here's the thing. I can't hate on Fabio Wardley, man. Just within these past few recent fights that I've been kind of like seriously tuning into his career, this guy, it looks like this guy kind of just came out of nowhere. He came from like just having to fight everybody that he needed to in order to advance in his career. And he fought his way through adversity. He was close to almost like losing. I can't remember, like 2 fights ago, he was close to losing, and then just with one punch, the back burner, is able to sleep his opponent and then just come out with the victory. So
is that his nickname? The back burner?
No. Oh. No. I don't even know what his nickname is. But this guy has like almost 100% KO ratio.
Yeah, I think it's like 95 or 98, something like that.
That's pretty fucking high.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even just within the heavyweight like division, like for a heavyweight to be able to stop every heavyweight, it's kind of crazy.
No, it is true. I mean, his power is a saving grace, because he is a little bit weird to me, because I don't think his skill level is at the level of the other guys. Like, obviously Usyk, I think, is better. Tyson Fury, AJ, Ajit, Caballel. Like, I think that Moses. Like, yeah, I feel like they got better like technical skills, but I mean, this guy's got fucking power. And I mean, they're heavyweights, right? These guys are big guys. Everyone has power, but his power is different, and that's usually what happens when it comes to the heavyweights. We had Deontay Wilder before, who was killing people with that right hand. He built like a NBA player, but I mean, this guy had a touch of death. And now it seems like we got Fabio Wardley, who, maybe he isn't technically the best. He sometimes gets outboxed. Sometimes he's even losing fights. But that power is a saving grace for him. And it seems like it continues to take him to new levels. But now he's facing somebody in Daniel Dubois who has similar power. I think they have the exact same KO percentage in their records. So, listen, Dubois, obviously, I mean, he knocked out AJ bad last year, 2 years ago, however long that was. This is a tough fight, man. I really do think it's like a 50-50, because Dubois obviously has the better experience. I mean, he's been in the ring with Usyk twice now. And he's also fought guys like the Juggernaut. He's been at the top for a very long time. He has a lot of experience. So this is gonna be a really interesting fight. And I agree with you. I think someone is getting knocked out.
Yeah, I mean, Fabio Wardley's coming off from the biggest win of his career as he beat and stopped Joseph Parker in a fight that was very back and forth, very competitive until that very moment. So Fabio Wardley is a very weird fighter, an anomaly in certain cases. That power is for sure his saving grace, and it's why he's the champion at the moment, why he's in the position he's at. Daniel Dubois, on the other hand, coming off from a KO loss to Alexander Usyk in a fight in a performance that was really not suited. And prior to that second fight against Alexander Usyk, we saw the very best versions of Daniel Dubois. I mean, after he lost the first time to Usyk, he went on a tear. He ended up he beat Big Baby Miller. And then he beat Hrgovic. Then he beat Anthony Joshua. I mean, he was going on a tear, and he not only that, he was stopping them. That was the main thing. So that rematch against Usyk was a very odd performance. There was also the controversy that he was out partying the night before or celebrating before his rematch against Usyk. So it was not the very best version of Daniel Dubois for that rematch. Now he's going up against Fabio Wardley, who is coming off from the best win of his career. So it's a very weird phase moment for Daniel Dubois. I'm very interested to see the form that he comes in. If he comes in looking like how he did against Usyk in the rematch, I mean, I got Wardley stopping the boy. But if he comes in prior to that, I mean, like the Anthony Joshua version, he's gonna absolutely tear him apart. So it's gonna be weird to see, or curious. I'm interested to see what version of Daniel Dubois we get. But for my personal prediction, I have Daniel Dubois winning by stoppage, and hopefully becoming the new WBO heavyweight champion. And honestly, timeline wise, I think it'd make more sense for Wardley to win. Just so, I mean, Usyk against Wardley, and we don't have to get the trilogy between Daniel Dubois and Usyk. But for my personal liking and my personal assessment of the fight, I think Daniel Dubois will be getting the victory.
Look, I also want Daniel to win. But, I mean, if he throws parties the day prior,
that's on some Ilya Topuria shit, bro. He'd be doing like the night before, he'd be partying.
Really makes some sense, but as long as Daniel comes in, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, does he still have the same coach as he did in his previous fight?
Not sure.
I'm not even sure, but as long as he comes in 100%, doesn't have any distractions and is able to follow the game plan through, because when he fought Usyk, I don't know what they were training or what they were training for in that camp, but best believe I don't think he applied those that within the fight against Usyk, because it looks like he just went in there trying to just knock out Usyk's head off.
Yeah,
didn't work, obviously. So as long as he comes in, following the game plan, he should win. But Fabio Wardley is one of those guys. What were we saying? He doesn't have skill. He has power, but he also has that grit. He just doesn't lose. Like, he's undefeated. And so, I mean, the reason why he hasn't lost is because he has that grit. He can't lose, because if he loses, he knows he's going to take 3-4 steps back in his career. And so that's why he's been able to win every fight and come out victorious. And so dangerous fighter, but I'm going to be biased and go with Daniel.
Yeah, I agree. I do think if it's top form, Daniel Dubois, he's getting the victory. The experience is, it's just completely different. You know, Fabio Wardley is just and now entering. You know, that win against Joseph Parker, you know, that was really good. I feel so bad for Joseph Parker. He was so many times. He's like, he was the interim champion. They were telling him next time. He doesn't get it. He loses to Fabio Wardley, and then Fabio Wardley gets elevated to world champ status. I mean, they just cucked Joseph Parker out of the picture, which is, I feel so bad for him, honestly. I really do like him. But yeah, I think you know, that was good experience for Fabio Wardley. But I mean, it just showed us, you know, like he just has the power, man. Like, these guys have better skills than him. They can outbox him. But you know, sometimes, you know, once he starts landing, then it becomes a different story. But it's not the same thing with Danny Dubois, because Danny Dubois has the exact same thing. He touches you, you're gonna go on the canvas, you know. So I do think he's gonna be victorious, and I cannot wait for that trilogy with Alexander Usyk, the trilogy that no one asked for, but we're gonna get Danny Dubois and Alexander Usyk 3. Let's go, come on.
Yeah, so we're all in agreement. Daniel Dubois to get the victory in a close fight. It should be a good fight, a good heavyweight clash. Nothing like heavyweight boxing to get the excitement of the boxing fans, and we are having potentially maybe a new champion at the division. So we'll see who comes out on top for Fabio Wardley's first fight as champion, as he takes on Daniel Dubois. I believe we covered everything that we wanted to cover in today's episode. Let us know down below your official predictions for Fabio Wardley against Daniel Dubois and your reactions to David Benavidez beating Ramirez and Junto Nakatani's defeat to the number 1 pound-for-pound fighter, Naoya Inoue. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us on all forms of social media. We are on X, Instagram, and TikTok. Lastly, we're trying to build up a community on Discord, and you guys joining will be greatly appreciated. This was Pablo, and I'm with Rudo and Asa, and this was the Last Round Podcast. Thank you for watching.